Hello friends, welcome to Worldwide Books. The stock market is one of those places where every day someone becomes rich while someone else loses everything. It's a place where many have struck it rich and built fortunes, but at the same time, some have lost a lot, only to realize later what it truly takes to succeed in the stock market. One name that stands out on this list is Jim Paul, the author of this book. In What I Learned Losing $1 Million, he shares what he learned from losing so much money. Through his experiences, he reveals the mistakes and traps we should avoid to prevent significant financial losses. If you're curious about the lessons hidden behind losing a fortune and the mindset that can help us move forward, be sure to stay tuned to the end of this summary. Jim Paul always had a desire to earn money. He made a lot of it, but ended up losing even more. One day, he made $248,000, which greatly boosted his confidence. Because of his overnight success, he became famous in the Chicago Mercantile Exchange. He began giving orders to others and stopped listening to anyone else. At that time, there was a high demand for soybeans, but supply was low, so prices were expected to rise. When Paul got this news, he invested all his money, plus a large amount borrowed from friends, into the market. He was confident in his decision. Having already succeeded before, Paul was now putting everything on the line with full confidence. His companions also trusted him and invested their money based on his actions. But that's when his luck turned. Due to bad weather, the soybean crop was ruined, which led to a drastic fall in prices, and Paul started losing money. For several months, he lost $20,000 daily. Seeing the situation worsen, others pulled their money out of the market, but Paul was still confident the market would turn in his favor. But it didn't. Eventually, his manager let him go. Paul lost $800,000, much of it borrowed from his friends. If you want to get rich, you may have already read several books. If you haven't, a quick search on Amazon will show you countless books claiming to make you wealthy. Reading books is a great habit, but it can be challenging to know whose advice to follow and whose to ignore among all the advice out there. If you've read books on the stock market, you may have seen that many advise diversifying your portfolio, meaning investing in different companies. But if we listen to Warren Buffett, he advises the opposite, to focus on one area. If we blend both ideas, we get a simple rule. Don't lose your money. Warren Buffett himself said, Rule number 1, never lose money. Rule number 2, never forget rule number 1. Bernard Baruch and Jim Rogers echoed this by saying, never lose your money. This means that whether you diversify or focus on one place, the goal is to protect yourself from losses. There are countless ways to get rich, but they all share one essential aspect: minimizing losses. Think back to the times when you've lost. It may be hard, but try to find out why you lost. Do you blame the situation, or do you accept it was your mistake? Many people, instead of blaming themselves, blame the circumstances. But you have to understand that circumstances aren't going to get rich. You are. Therefore, the responsibility to improve lies with you. Losing isn't a bad thing. We all make mistakes. But some people feel their life is over after one mistake. If you hate losing that much, you'll never win. You need to control that hatred. Use your mind instead of sinking into the sorrow of loss. Emotions often cloud our judgment. Paul didn't accept his mistake because he couldn't bear to be wrong. We saw the consequences of this attitude in the first lesson. Admitting mistakes is as hard as it is necessary. Many people watch their stock lose value in the market, but they wait, hoping the market will turn around. This hope often leads to disaster. Our minds are good at finding patterns, even where none exist. As kids, we all saw shapes like horses or elephants in clouds. Although clouds have nothing to do with these animals, our brains still find patterns. As children, finding these patterns was fun, but in the stock market, this habit can leave you penniless. The market doesn't work according to formulas. If you followed a pattern and avoided loss, it's just luck. It's not guaranteed that the market will always bounce back after a drop. So if your stock value is decreasing, don't rely on the market turning around. Reevaluate your decision. Otherwise, it's no different than gambling. There are stocks where you invest once, and the gain or loss ends there. But there are also stocks where you can keep investing. Here, you know the start but not the end. The common thread with both is that following a pattern is risky. Many traders keep investing one after another, continuously losing. They chase patterns until they've lost all their money. Imitating others is part of our nature. We learn many things this way. In one study, a child was placed with a baby chimpanzee to see if the child would act like the chimp. But it was observed that over time, the child started imitating the chimpanzee. Humans are indeed experts at imitation, but sometimes imitation can lead to trouble. In 2008, when the US real estate market crashed, people learned the hard way that blindly following others can have severe consequences. If you attend a live concert, you might also find yourself shouting along with everyone else. We can't stop ourselves from copying others. When we start following others out of fear, it can be even more harmful. We feel that if we don't follow the crowd, we'll lose our money because we assume that so many people can't all be wrong. So, without thinking, we start following them. Emotions take over and cloud our judgment. It's not necessary to be physically with the crowd to act like them. When we read an article stating that many people are going crazy over a certain stock, we often invest in it without thinking. Or, when we come across a viral video online, we can't resist watching it. Before accepting anyone's advice, make sure you do your research so you won't regret it later. In the 1980s, Morgan Stanley's investment banking department achieved great success, one success after another, because of their planning. They had a plan for every situation, knowing exactly how to handle any unforeseen challenges. Some people thought planning was a waste of time, but it was this planning that led to their success. When we work according to a plan, we make each decision by assessing if it brings us closer to our goal. Without a plan, we often make impulsive decisions that don't benefit us in the long run. Before planning, it's essential to ask yourself a few questions. Are you investing for the long term or the short term? What rules will you follow? Where do you want to be in 5 years? Write down the answers to such questions in a journal to keep them in mind. Additionally, before entering the stock market, you need a reliable source of information to stay updated. As mentioned earlier, blindly following the crowd can be risky. Therefore, you need a trustworthy guide who can point you in the right direction and provide accurate information. Using that information can help you avoid making poor decisions. Paul's biggest mistake was not using the knowledge he had. Emotions can sometimes be dangerous, so work based on data. Perhaps you've heard of Abhimanyu in the Mahabharata. He knew how to break through 6 of the Chakravyuha gates, but he didn't know how to break the 7th and final gate. He knew how to enter and fight, but didn't know how to exit, which led to his downfall. The stock market can be similar. If you haven't decided beforehand how much you're willing to lose before pulling out, you've already made a mistake. Let's break this down. Suppose you buy copper stocks at 60 rupees, expecting them to reach 70 rupees by the end of the month. But after 15 days, the price drops to 50 rupees. You reassure yourself that the price will go up again, but by the month's end, it falls to 40 rupees. That's when you realize your mistake. To avoid such situations, set a limit for how much loss you can tolerate. Suppose, based on your calculations, you decide that if the price falls to 55 rupees, going any lower would cause you significant loss. So, set a limit for yourself. As soon as the price goes below 55 rupees, you'll pull out of the market. Alternatively, you can set a date for yourself, so if the price doesn't increase by that date, you'll withdraw your money and invest it elsewhere. If you truly want to avoid following the crowd and keep your emotions in check, set a number for yourself. Decide when you'll pull your money from the market. Doing this can save you from heavy losses. From Jim Paul's mistake, we can learn a lot. Controlling emotions, not following the crowd, avoiding pattern-based actions, working based on data, planning, and always having an exit strategy are all ways to protect yourself from significant losses in the stock market. So, the next time you face a failure, see it as a lesson, not as a defeat. This mindset makes us better and leads us toward success. I hope this book and its summary proved helpful to you. Don't forget to like and share this video, and subscribe to our channel for more insightful book summaries. Thank you.